What is up? Man, what is up? I can't hear my headphones. I can't hear the music in my headphones looking at. Man, what is going on, man? We are black, back, melanated, whatever the fuck you want to say. Who gives a fuck? We here. It's another day. It's hot as a motherfucker, but I'm still drinking some soursop tea. I want some real soursop, though. Like, I'm trying to go to the island to get that shit. So shout out to everybody out there on their health shit. I need to get more healthy as it is. I need to get back in the gym, man. For real. I've been bullshitting, but that COVID shit, man, shut everything down, make a nigga don't even want to go nowhere. Shout out to everybody out there, Corporate Plantation. If you dare, oh my God, I'll fuck with you. That shit ain't fun, man. It's not fun. It was never meant to be fun. Shout out to all my melanated brothers that stay on business. Man, we gonna get into it for real. Bill Cosby, man. Felicia Rashad. Bill Cosby, man. How long have I been talking about Bill Cosby and how they want to talk about all this shit about what Bill Cosby did, but they don't never want to talk about these white folk. And as soon as you start talking about these white folk, they start to bucket their eyes and act like they don't know what the fuck is going on. Hey, man, y'all know what it is. I'm recording. I probably have to upload it. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like I said, this shit always be tripping, man. So whatever it is, I don't know what to tell y'all. I'm almost kind of used to it by now. I don't know if it's YouTube, I don't know if it's my internet. You look at my internet's fine. You go to YouTube be acting like they ain't doing nothing. I ain't talking about shit, so I don't know why the fuck this shit be tripping like that. But anyway, we about to get into it. So shout out to everybody out there in Corporate Plantation. If you're handling business, if you're not, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Get on your. We about to get into it, man, because it's some real shit. Cut this shit down. For real. Man, in this weather, man, I'm telling you, man, it was like 115 degrees. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm ready for it. I got it. I understand what's going on. Then all of a sudden it dropped down to 90. And I'm like, God damn, man, that weather be fucking with a nigga too. Now it's back to like 107, 108, which I'm normal. I'm used to. I wish it just stay that way the whole fucking time. For real. But anyway, man, we about to get into this shit, man. Hey, man, what I tell you about your boy Bill Cosby, man? Man, he out, not guilty in this bitch. That's how it's supposed to be. And for all you fucking Sambos and mammies and shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, I look at this one black bitch on here. I forgot what her name was. I'm gonna look this bitch up talking about, oh, well, let's not forget, bitch. No, let's forget everything. Because white people act, they got selective memory all day long, all day strong. But it's only black folk who always want to remind each other, you know, we did mess it. And they want to do it in front of the whole, just general public. Just so they can get brownie points from the dominant society, man. I get tired of that shit. And I get tired of watching niggas own that type of shit. That's that fucking Sheila Jackson. Oh, we don't need reparations. We just gonna do a study. And then the motherfucker do a hate crime bill for the Asians. And then we like, hey, man, what's up with our reparations? They give us Juneteenth, a.k.a. Cooneteenth. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. I want to hear that shit, man. I'm tired of all these suck ass niggas out here talking about, no, man, we you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I don't want no reparations, man. I don't want nobody to help me. Well, I do, because I deserve the motherfucking help. Fuck out of here, man. My people built the country, and I ain't trying to work for them. I'm trying to have my own shit, so go ahead and cut the check. Bob Johnson already said cut the check. So, nigga, and we don't need 14. Well, let's start off at about 30. 30 trillion divided by 40 million black folk. What is that? Where the mathematicians at? 30 trillion divided by what? 40 million black folk? That's about what? 6 million, 7 million, 8 million, and 10 million apiece? Cool. Go ahead and run me my money so I can get the fuck away from all this bullshit and this stress, man. These corporate plantation, man, the stress kills, man. And sometimes you got to back because you don't understand how stressful you can be at these corporate plantations, man. That's why if you want to have stress, be a business owner. Own your own shit. Stress yourself out for your own shit. Don't stress yourself out for these people. Get the fuck away from people be talking that shit too. Like, man, I want to start my own business. Man, get the fuck away from them. Those are failures at life. Now I can see if they're like, hey, man, if you start your business, be, cautious and be mindful of what you get yourself into. That's different. But if a motherfucker just on some, man, I want to start my own business, man. I'll stay at that job, man. You make good money. Yeah, you make good money, but you hate it. You miserable. You stressed out. You losing weight. Gray, your hair is gray. Your beard is gray, man. Fuck that. I see niggas that make good money, and they stressed out and they hate their fucking job. You know why? Because it's not meant for you, clown. Motherfuckers be on that shit though, acting like it's meant for them. And I don't be trying to convince nobody different of nothing. That's what you think? Go ahead and do that. Be down, man. Go ahead and do your thing. But but for me, I'm cool, man. after you be on there for a minute, you get into the situation in your mind mentally where you like, man, I'm over this shit, man. I'm not trying to be doing this shit like this, man. And working for these people and got all this bullshit going on. Let's get into it. Shout out to Felicia Rashad. She stayed down the whole time. There was so many coons and sambos telling about the gun line bosses turned on Bill Cosby talking shit. Yeah, I didn't like what Bill Cosby particularly said about, said to black folk in the pound cake speech. I didn't like that, but that's still our brother. That's still my nigga. That's still we supposed to be on code. And it wasn't like Bill Cosby was all the way on no Sambo shit either. It was just like, I think he felt like, well, maybe I should publicly get that because he coming from a different perspective. But let's not get it twisted. Janice Dickinson committed perjury. She perjured herself. Nothing happened to her. These fucking white bitches was getting on the stand just making up shit. Yeah, I was with him. Man, he don't even know you. Oh, well, I was with a girl that was with him. Like, man, when? Oh, I can't remember. It was too traumatic. Man, nigga, what? That sounds like slavery by another name. Hey, man, you owe me money. Hey, man, I don't even know you. Well, guess what? I'm going to go get the judge, get the police, and the judge going to say, guilty, nigga. Yeah, you do. Now go work on his motherfucking plantation for 10 years. That's what the fuck they was doing. So I don't want to hear that shit, man. At all. And I see what motherfuckers trying to do. They trying to shame Felicia for taking up for him. Man, Bill Cosby put her in the game. So why would you? Look, man, that's the problem with motherfuckers. We don't have no problem siding with white folk when they put us in the game. When a black person put you in the game, as soon as white people deem him the enemy, motherfucker, everybody just turn on him and be like, oh, well, like the nigga don't exist. You see that shit all the time, man. That shit is crazy to me. That shit is fucking crazy. I'd be like, damn, bro, like, you just gonna turn on your homeboy like that? He put you in the game? You know what I'm saying? I remember Faison, was it Faison Love? I think it was him. Who I think it was Robert Townsend that kind of turned his back on Bill Cosby. And I think Faison Love was like going in on him too. Like, you a coward. Like, this dude put you on too and you acting like that? You a coward, nigga. And that's some real shit. And I think a lot of people, in my personal opinion, I just think a lot of people, in my personal opinion, I just think we haven't read enough. And I don't think we are more educated on how important it is to be on code. I'll say that. Because even at the Court Plantation, I'm always talking about that. We don't even be on code at the Court Plantation. And I learned that the hard way. Not being on code and just focusing on my own thing and watching everybody around me that look like me fall to the wayside. And then I've been in situations where I've been on code, nigga, don't listen to a goddamn thing you saying. So it's tomato. My thing will always be this. And don't forget it. Let me tell you something. You can't never say I didn't tell you. You feel me? You can't never say I didn't tell you. You can't never say that Warren ain't told you. Look, man, this is what it is. For real. And that's why you got to give, I got to give Felicia Rashad props, man. You got to give her props, man, because she didn't have to say nothing. But she did. She spoke up. The rest of them niggas ain't. And then, oh my God, Mark LaMoist Hill. What a fucking moist ass. He's a moist motherfucker, man. That is a fucking agent for the dominant society, man. For real. And remember, he was talking shit about the Honorable Queen Mother, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. He's talking shit about her too, man. Fuck that nigga. He does not represent Philly well at all. At all. He's the biggest man. Well, we call him a mammy too. I ain't played the music in a long time. Shawnee, shout out to Shawnee. Y'all don't know what I'm saying about the music. I remember one podcast. It was me, Shawnee. Who else was in there? Tommy. I think Tasha was there. It was like four of us. I was doing a podcast. I just kept playing that music over and over again. And we couldn't even get through the podcast. I was laughing the whole fucking time. Shawnee was laughing and shit. That shit was funny. I'm gonna have to get the music for that nigga, man. That nigga Mark LaMoist. That nigga's on some other shit, man. He needs the Sambo vaccination. That's what he needs. He needs the Sambo vaccination. He needs that. Instead of COVID-19, Sambo 19. That's what he needs. He need that Sambo vaccination. And then after that, we're gonna have to go ahead and send him to Sambo rehab. So they can, so he can get that out of his system. Detox him from that Sambo spirit, man. Because a lot of these people suffer from that shit. Shout out to the homegirl Erica too. I saw what you posted on the comment. She I gotta take a screenshot of that shit and post it on YouTube too. I like what she did. She took not a picture, but she wrote out Dirty Bookman's prayer, and I think that was pretty dope. That actually kind of made my day, and it really made my day because I was like, man, hey man, people need to look at that prayer, man. And I think more people, to me, they want, what is it, the blue pill? What is it, the blue pill or the red pill? I think it's the blue pill. The blue pill make you go to sleep. Let's look it up. I'm looking it up on my phone, but I'm not mistaken. Just like The Matrix 4. I'm anticipating watching, but damn, it's gonna be probably some moist shit because one of the Wachowski brothers, they moist. They turn themselves into a woman or whatever. I don't know what the fuck these motherfuckers got going on. Oh, that's another thing too, man. If you live in Las Vegas, Nevada, nigga, man. Hey, Tasha, I forgot. If Tasha, when you listen to this shit, remember, go look this up. Shawnee, man, I gotta say it. Erica, I gotta say it. For real. 066, I gotta say this shit. Do y'all know Miss Nevada is a goddamn he bitch? It was a motherfucking he bitch who won Miss Nevada. Not a woman. Not a woman with a pussy hole. Not a woman with titties, real titties and ass. But a nigga with dick and balls won the goddamn Miss Nevada shit. And motherfucker, and they had a nerve to put him on TV and like prop him up. I'm like, man. Now this shit done gone too goddamn far to me, in my personal opinion. Now, the reason why you like, oh, well, Warren, you can't be like that. That's LGBTQ and all that. Okay, all right, fine then. Then I should have permission to go in the woman's bathroom. Not the children's bathroom with the little girls. I'm talking about the adult women's bathroom, and I should be able to go in there and piss and shit and watch women change their clothes and pull their panties down. And when I go to 24-Hour Fitness or LA, Las Vegas Athletic Fitness Club or LVAC or whatever the fuck they want to call it, I'm going to the woman's bathroom and taking a shower in the woman's bathroom. You know why? Because I'm gonna say I identify as a woman. And I'm going to see how far that gets me as a black man in the United States of America Incorporated. Since they now picking women to be picking, not women, but he bitches or niggas that identify as a woman and grow hair and all this other shit, take hormone pills and shit. Now you don't want Miss Nevada. Now what kind of shit is this? I said, man, what the fuck is this, man? I just happened to watch the news and I'm looking like, as soon as I'm looking, I'm like, that look like a man. And then it was like, oh, our first transgender. I'm like, see, they done gone too far, man. That's too far, man. I'm with Bootsy. Don't let him cut his dick off, dog. Don't let him do that, dog. He only 12 years old. Like, what kind of shit is that? That's why I was watching The Chi, too, man. And The Chi was, was good. But, man, it's hard to get into because, and I always thought that girl, they got a transgender girl on there. And no diss to my black brothers and sisters and LGBTQ black brothers and sisters, no diss, because the white LGBTQ, them motherfuckers is racist as a motherfucker, and that's a motherfucking fact. Straight up. You better ask Ed Buck. Hey, but it's a sister on there, right? Hey, Tasha, I hope you listen to. Hey, my nigga, I hope you listen to this. It's a sister on there. As soon as I saw her, I was like, man, that's a man. I was like, what the fuck is that? I was like, that's a man. They like, oh no, then you try to Google, oh, she's a woman actress, and I'm like, nah, that's a man. Then after the whole season or whatever, the season that passed or whatever, they like, oh, that's a transgender. I'm like, I told you that was a motherfucking transgender. That's a man. No diss. I got love for my LGBTQ LMNOP. I'm not tripping off that shit. All I'm saying is, what the fuck is going on when you have Miss Nevada? I'm just saying, this is, hey, 066, hey, my G. Vegas ain't used to be like that, man. Let me tell you something about Vegas. That's the thing that tripped me out about Vegas, too. A lot of these white motherfuckers out here in Las Vegas from the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, they didn't play that LGBTQ shit like that at all. Like, nigga, they was not playing that. I've been out here for a long time. I've been coming out here since the 80s to Vegas. My mom used to tell me shit about that shit. Like, they don't play that shit out here in Vegas. Vegas is a Republican state. They don't play that shit. You can't bring that gay shit out here. They don't play that shit. You better keep that shit somewhere else. I remember my mom told me that shit. She's like, they don't play that shit out here. And I was rolling. And I was like, yeah, man, what the fuck is up with that? Because back then in the 80s and the 90s, they didn't really, that wasn't really something that you can use as a card. And like I said, this is no diss to them. What I'm saying is now I feel like people just using the card to get into places. It's almost like affirmative action. Like, hey, man, what you doing? Hey, man, I'm gay. I'm LGBTQ. Then they be like, oh, okay, all right, I won't fuck with you. That's like the new fucking pass or some shit. All right, I want to go play with the women. I want to go in the women's bathroom. Hey, man, I identify as woman. I'm LGBTQ. The nigga be like, what? Oh, man. Only out here in Las Vegas, Nevada would that happen. Austin, man, what's happening, man? Hey, Austin, man, what's up with you, man? I ain't seen Austin in a minute. I got to come up there and holler at you, bro. But, hey, man, that shit is crazy. Hey, it was so even more funny to me. Shout out to homeboy Nick. Shout out to Dom, too, man. Those my partners, man. You know what? I'm about to text this motherfucker right now, man. I'm about to text them in a minute, man. Send them a group thing, man. Shout out to Nick. Shout out to Dom. Niggas be busy, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Look, when I seen that shit on the shot, I was just like, and then it's a brother on there, men claiming to be women to be pro because they couldn't make it. Hey, man, I don't get started on that shit, bro. They gonna take away my shit for real. Hey, let me tell you something. I'm shocked that they allowed that to happen out here in Las Vegas, but I guess everybody kind of going with the times or whatever, especially in Vegas, man, because I'm knowing 20, 30 years ago, Vegas was not playing that shit. Just in my personal opinion, and from what I observed and I seen, and it's especially like the way the city was going back then, I wasn't playing no shit like that. And they was not gonna let you be like, all right, man, I'm a man and I want to play in a woman's sport. Man, they'll have you all over the news. They'll tar and feather you with the old school Vegas. But this Vegas now, man, I guess all over the country, everybody kind of going with that wave. My thing is that fair to women's athletes? Women's that are athletes? So is that fair to them? Like that? So that's basically, you basically telling me I could go put on a wig and identify as a woman and be like, all right, I'm about to go run track with the women. I'm about to be on a women's swim team. I'm about to do all this shit with the women. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me, man. I'm not even at UAC anymore. Wait, hey, man, hey, my boy Austin, man. Hey, Austin, pop it up, bro. For real, you gonna be laughing. I don't know if you heard. So you at NYU? What you do? You moved? I knew you was gonna move anyway, though. I knew the motherfuckers wasn't gonna treat you right over there, and that's what really tripped me out. And I know Austin, man. We ain't gonna put the business out there like that. We ain't gonna put it out there like that. This somebody that, you know what I'm saying, I know Austin for a minute. That's my boy too. No, he not melanated, but that's my boy, and he was. I'll just tell y'all this. Erica, Tasha, I'll tell y'all this. Austin, because of me, Austin wasn't very well liked. I'll just put it that way. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna put it out there like that, Austin, man. We ain't gonna put the business out there like that, man. But Austin was not very well liked at one of the corporate plantations we worked at. Austin was off code, meaning like Austin wasn't telling on the black people and just doing sucker shit. So, and that's all I'm gonna say. We ain't gonna say nothing else, man, because you gotta have. Look, it's just like this book I talked about. This book called The Burglary. Remember I talked about them? I talked about those non-melanated people, those white folk that was in there. Them people didn't have to tell. Them motherfuckers told everything. They told everything that J. Edgar Hoover was doing. And they didn't give a fuck. Shit, they told. And let me tell you something. When me and Austin worked at a corporate plantation together. I ain't gonna say which one, but we worked at one. We ain't gonna put it out there, Austin. I'll just tell you this. What y'all hear me talk about, it can be vetted out by other people that know me. No clown. So I'll just say this. Tasha, all the people, you know what I'm saying, that be watching, Austin was not well liked. He was liked at first. At first, he was like, oh, okay, yeah, Austin, white, he cool. But when Austin started telling what a lot of those other white people was doing that was on some racist shit, and they started to see that Austin was off code, they started to treat him different. They started treating him like a nigga. I'm gonna be honest with you. And the reason why I give Austin props, and I'm not just saying this, I didn't ever want to put it out there like that. But now that he kind of go, the reason why I'm saying this now is because Austin easily could have just took the regular white approach. He could have distanced himself from me. He could have not fucked with me. He could have not told me nothing. And then he could have went on to higher heights. But Austin was kind of like, nah, man, fuck all that. I'm not doing that shit. Nah, that's some racist shit. Nah, y'all treat motherfuckers like shit. Nah, the black people here ain't lazy. Like, he used to say shit like that. And they didn't like that shit. And after that, it was fucked up too. Because Austin got his, Austin is white and got his education. This is what I mean about when you dealing with people that are not on code with the dominant society. Sometimes they'll make an example out of them. You just got to be willing to be strong enough to deal with it. And I gave him props because I didn't know how he was going to deal with it. I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't know how he was going to deal with it. But he dealt with it. And he took it like a G. He didn't like, well, I got to distance myself. Nah, he just was like, fuck that shit. And he saw a lot of that bullshit going on around there. And look, let me tell you something. I wasn't trying to move up. I wasn't trying to do none of that shit. He know I was never on that shit. But of course, they're not gonna promote a person that's a part of dominant society that's gonna make a way and give opportunities to black folk. And I'm not just saying this because he's on the chat. He know this is no bullshit. He know. If I'm wrong, Austin, tell me I'm wrong. Straight up. Austin will tell you. He know I ain't lying. Well, let me see. No, there's a billing center here in Vegas. NYU recruited me, and I went fast. People don't like real people. Facts. That's a fact. And see, here's the thing that people need to understand, man. Like, it was no gimmicks with Austin or nothing like that. Austin, look, it wasn't no gimmicks. It wasn't none of that. And that's the thing that I'll be trying to tell people, like, look, bro, y'all need to look at the obvious. And y'all need to point out the obvious. Like, okay, whether y'all think Bill Cosby is guilty or not, that's not the point. What I'm saying is, you have Harvey Weinstein out there just straight taking pussy, and they ain't doing shit to him. We don't even know what's going on with him and Ghislaine Maxwell and Bill Clinton and all of them. That's why when motherfuckers be like, oh, Democrat, Republican, in my personal opinion, both parties partake in racism. But what I like, and I don't care, I remember, shout out to the homeboy Nick again, and I remember I was like, he was like, yeah, man, I was just like, we was talking about Democrats. I was like, I don't fuck with the Democrats. He's like, you Republican? I said, no, but I admire that the Republicans are bold and upfront about how they feel about race. They don't give a fuck. That's what I liked about Donald Trump. No, I didn't vote for Donald Trump, but let's break down the facts. Now, you want to break down the facts? You can Google it. Donald Trump was the only president that came out and said, well, black people built the country. And people were booing him. People was booing Donald Trump. And he was like, nah. Black people, yes, African Americans did build this country. Yes, they did. And people was booing him. And he didn't give a fuck. He was like, nah. And then he went on to say, which was a classic moment for me, Joe Biden's he's a career politician. He's done nothing for black people. What has he done? He's done more harm than good. He's been a politician for 40 years. All facts. Joe Biden has done more harm to black folk than good. All you gotta look at is the 94 crime bill. And then when you're done looking at that, go read motherfucking The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander. It'll tell you everything that Joe Biden did. So, you know, and I remember when I was talking to Nick about it, and I started bringing up the fact, I'm like, man, just go read this book or go read this book. And then I think it wasn't for him to not be a Democrat or a Republican. It was just for him to look at the facts. And I always feel like this. If you watch or read about Fred Hampton, I read about Fred Hampton. It was from his white attorney's standpoint. It was a white attorney that like was with him towards the middle, and he really wanted to, you know, he was really wanted to be a part of the movement. I think his name was Jeffrey Haas. That was the lawyer's name. And the book he wrote was really good. It was based, you know, around Fred, not based, but it was about Fred Hampton, and it talked about the ups, the downs, how J. Edgar Hoover was colluding with the Chicago Police Department with William O'Neill, who Lakeith Stanfield played to kill him, to assassinate him or whatever. And he talked about, you know, the trial and how they was giving him a lot of grief and how he got a lot of grief because he was off code and they was treating him like shit because he shouldn't have been representing, melanated people. It's crazy, man. There's a lot of shit, man. But that book is a very good book. And it talks about, the Rainbow Coalition, if I'm not mistaken. And Fred Hampton the Rainbow Coalition came from Fred Hampton. Let's get this straight. Jesse Jackson and them did not invent that. That was Fred Hampton's baby. He invented that shit. He birthed that shit. And Fred Hampton was a gangster. That nigga was going around going to the white people and telling them, look, you white and I'm black, but you poor just like me. So they don't fuck with you either. And then a lot of those white people started being like, hey, he is right. Yeah, I don't like black people, but my own people treat me fucked up. And then that's when they was like, all right, he got too much of a movement. We got to get his ass out the paint. We got to get his ass the fuck off the court, and we gotta move. And that's what it is. Another thing about Bill Cosby that people don't know, that I did my research. I remember my mom used to talk about this shit. Tosh, you remember my mom used to talk about this shit a lot. I remember when Bill Cosby was trying to buy NBC. Them white people were so mad. I think they were more offended because he had the money to buy it. I don't think they cared about him trying to buy it. I think they were more mad, like, how dare you not tell us you got all this money? And he tried to buy NBC, and then when he tried, they told him no. Then he tried again, and they killed allegedly assassinated his son. And he was going to change the programming, the black programming for NBC. Because you got to remember, at that time, NBC had Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, they had The Cosby Show, A Different World. They had all these good black programming. It wasn't no moist shit either. So it wasn't no, oh, I'm a man, but really identify as a woman, but I want to wear a wig and no this, but that would never make it then. And they knew that programming I think it would have changed the paradigm for the United States of America Incorporated. Why, Warren? Because too often, a lot of this generation and the younger generation, they're only going by what they see on TV and on social media. So they don't really know the history. They don't really know about the Federal Reserve. They don't really know about slavery. They don't really know about those things. And black folk have to understand, we need to know about it, not them. We can't be like, hey, man, you need to read this book, man. No. Have you read the book? Have you educated yourself? Because if you ain't read the book and you ain't educated yourself, then what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? What are you going to do if you haven't educated yourself? And how are you going to explain it if somebody's willing to listen to it? And a lot of times I feel like we want everybody to hear our story so much, but we don't even want to learn our own story. We just want everybody to hear it and pat us on the head. I don't want you pat me on the head. Anybody that know, they know I ain't into no shit like that. I don't want you pat me on the head and telling me what a good nigga. I don't need none of that. What you gonna do to open some doors for me? What you gonna do? Tell me what is being said when we're not in the room, as Dr. Francis Cress Welsing says. And I always quote that all the time, man, because it is very correct. And I've not met very few people. I met I would say few people that's willing to kind of jeopardize their career at the corporate plantation for black folk. I haven't met a whole lot, and I don't expect people to do that. I don't expect people to do that. Let me see no clown zone. Too many people are Facebook literate rather than book literate. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We used to have great conversations. And look, when I have conversations, this is one thing I'm going to say too, man. Like, shout out to the homie Erica, Shawnee. When you have conversations, right? This is just my perspective. When you have conversations with people, those conversations are for perspective. It ain't for you to get mad, especially black folk. I'm speaking to black folk. Let's not get mad. Let's not get emotional. Let's not get mad and emotional. Keep your composure. If somebody wants to have a general dialogue, fine. But if they want to go into depth about things, especially at the corporate plantation, you have to size them up and vet them out and see what they on. Are they gonna take what you're saying and go and flip it and turn it to something else to make you the angry black guy? Or are they gonna be like, oh, okay, I never thought about that? Or are they gonna be like, you know what? Warren is cool, but I'm about to look up what the fuck he's saying. Because it seems to me what the fuck he's saying don't have no validity. I like people to vet me out. Don't just believe what I say. Go look it up. Go read the books. I'm not claiming to know nothing, but I would suggest that everybody, when you look at things, don't just take social media for full face value. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to look, okay, and then go research it for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of times we need to get off of social media unless you're trying to learn. And then you need to go get the books and go read it. Like this one book that I added to my cart. It's called I added to my Amazon cart. It's called oh man, I'm about to look it up right now because I think it's gonna be a good book. I think it's gonna be a good book. I'm looking it up on my Amazon cart, and I just added it to it. I just add different books to my cart that I like. So let me see if I can find it. If my book ain't tripping. It's called Methodical Illusion. And then she wrote another book about 9/11. And I'm gonna go check that out. Her name is Rebecca Roth. You know, she's probably a white Jewish. Look, first of all, let me say something about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. People don't even know that his violin teacher was Jewish, was a white Jewish teacher. That was his violinist. His teacher was a white Jewish person. People also don't know this too. When he does his speeches and stuff, it be white people, it be white Jewish people in the audience as well. People don't know that. But the media and everybody, what they do is they take the little bit that he says and they make it something, and then boom, anti-Semitic right away. But people don't know. Like, if you really listen to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, not to join the Nation of Islam. I'm not a part of the Nation of Islam. But it's not about being a part of the Nation of Islam. It's about studying. Study from the cradle to the grave. Study everything. Study this, study that. Like, they study a lot in Scientology. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, information is key and it's power. The more information you have and you know, I feel like the more powerful your mind is. That's why I don't never get in conversations about belief systems. I get into those conversations about knowledge systems. And okay, man, where'd you get that book from? Oh man, I'm gonna check that book out. Okay, cool. I never been on that. Cause I'm not finna sit up here and be telling you about, oh man, this is the church you need to go to. I ain't never, people that know me or been around me, they gonna be like, yeah man, Warren ain't on that shit. That's the last thing he gonna tell you to do. He'll tell you about a book though. But he ain't gonna tell you about, you know what I'm saying? I think it's very imperative. That's why I'm looking at Bill Cosby and I'm like, they still shitting on him. And they mad at Felicia Rashad for having his back. They mad at her about that shit. I'm like, damn. Let me see what they say about Felicia Rashad. Let's see. If it play. It might not even play. If it don't play, it's all good. I ain't tripping. Because a lot of times this shit don't play. The audio be tripping. But I'm glad that Bill Cosby, you know what I'm saying, he did his thing. You know what I'm saying? He was able to get in, you know what I'm saying, and get out, even though they was gunning for him. I know they don't like Bill Cosby. People don't know, though. It has been said that Bill Cosby's home is on oil. Sits on oil. Like there's oil under his land. And those greedy oil traders and people that own wineries, they want that fucking oil. So they like, well, get his ass about the paint so we can get that oil. Let's see what they say. Oh no, they just showing clips. They're not saying nothing about it though. You know what I'm saying? I just think this is my personal perspective. I think people need to wake up, understand what the fuck is going on, know where you stand, know where you don't stand, study, read, come up with your own belief system. Don't take on nobody's identity but your own, stay in your own path. You know what I'm saying? And I'll tell you this. They act like Bill Cosby is 30 years old. Like he about to get out and rape a whole bunch of women or do some whole bunch of sucker shit or something. It's like, damn, the nigga's 90 years old type shit. What the fuck y'all niggas think he gonna do? That's one. And two, it's like, why are we not talking about Harvey Weinstein? Why are we not talking about these other people? Why are we not talking about, I think it was a teacher, somebody out here in Las Vegas. He's a white dude. He was a pedophile like a motherfucker. You couldn't even find his picture. They made sure they scrubbed his picture of anything off the internet. The motherfuckers want to be telling me like, oh, no, man, you know. But black people, I'm like, look, bro, don't tell me about no black on black crime, none of that other shit. When a motherfucker say black on black crime, you know what I say? I say the Contras. I say Ronald Reagan. I say George Bush. I say the CIA. I say Gary Webb. I say flooding the black communities with crack cocaine in the 80s and then having the president's wife, the first lady, tell us just say no to drugs. That's what I say. So you're going to tell us about black on black crime, but the dominant white society flooded the neighborhoods with crack cocaine. Where would black people get crack cocaine from? We don't own boats, ships. We don't own cakes, pies. We don't own none of that. We don't own no natural resources that can get on it. And I'm not talking about, well, black people own a boat. No, I'm not talking about a boat. I'm talking about a fucking ship. Have you ever been on a port in Long Beach and seen them big ass cargo ships? Black folks don't own them, especially in the 80s. Stop. That's why Gary Webb, another person off code, go look up Gary Webb, another person off code. I gotta get his book too. It's called The Dark Alliance. And he basically exposed the CIA and all the corruption and how they were flooding the black communities with crack cocaine. And he saw it and they threatened him. And when they threatened him, he didn't give a fuck. And he still put the story out. And then they basically ruined his marriage. And then after they ruined his marriage, he ended up committing suicide by shooting himself twice in the head. Now you tell me, how do you shoot yourself twice in the head? Bang. Oh, my bad. Bang again. Stop. Anybody that's owned a firearm or shot a firearm, you know, that's damn near impossible. Well, maybe if he shoot himself like this and then it come out this way. Stop, man. Stop. They killed him. And that's why he's never talked about. And they made a movie called To Kill a Messenger. And I think it's Jeremy Renner, the dude from Marvel. He played Gary Webb. Very, very good movie, but he's got a very good backstory. He was the one who basically interviewed Rick Ross and with Freeway Rick and was like, man, where you get all these drugs? Freeway Rick was like, man, they giving this shit to me. What the fuck you mean? I'm not getting this shit. They giving it to me. And then after that, them motherfuckers was like, all right, man, you off code. You know what I'm saying? And once you off code, you have to be willing to suffer the consequences. And I very few, far in between, see people that will suffer those consequences. And I get it. I don't expect people to do that. You know, you're not trying to mess up your livelihood and do nothing to mess up what you got going on. I don't expect people to do that. I don't expect no other racial group to do it. I just expect for black folk to be on code, not act no goddamn fool, and get around the dominant white society and get the buck dancing and sandbone and coning and telling about the gun line and running and telling everything and doing. That's sucker shit to me. And that ain't nothing but entertainment to white folk. And a lot of white folk, let me tell you, I remember, I ain't gonna say this white lady's name, but it was a white lady that I met at a corn plantation. She was in a very, very, very high position of power. And one of the main things that we discussed, she said, I don't like that. I don't put up with that. I don't tolerate that. And that's how you get on my bad side. And I was shocked because she was white. And she straight out said it. She said, and she was in a high position of power. She was like, if you black, you come to me telling on other black people and starting a whole bunch of drama and shit, you're not going to last in my department. Because I don't tolerate that. I don't like that at all. I don't get entertained by it. I don't like it. And that fucked me up because you think most people, she was like, nip that shit in the bud real quick. Basically, I think it felt like she was going to tell me, so if you one of them type of motherfuckers, then you might as well get the fuck out of my face. You're not getting nowhere from me, with me, doing that. Translation, that's sucker shit. That Sambo Coon, mammy telling about the gun line, sucker shit. And she didn't tolerate that. And that kind of opened up my eyes like, damn. Because I remember an older black person told me that a long time ago, like 20-some years ago, like, man, real white motherfuckers, this is exactly what they say, it's like real white motherfuckers, they don't even respect niggas that act like that. They don't respect niggas that act like that. They don't respect niggas that just go along to get along, yeah, but everything. He's like, they respect people that's like, well, no, this is kind of my perspective on it. He's like, they're going to have a different respect for you because you're going to stand on kind of your perspective without being disrespectful. And I'm like, okay, but I was young, so I didn't really understand it. I didn't really get it. And then I kind of experienced it at one of my first corporate plantation jobs, working at the city of North Las Vegas. Yep, I kind of experienced that. I was just kind of seeing how I really felt, and felt like I was advancing quicker, just kind of being like, nah, that don't work. But as soon as you be like, oh yeah, you want me to jump off the building and get, yeah, that'll work. That's when they be kind of looking at you like, oh man, this is a motherfucking goofy right here. So stand on your square, stay in your lane, read, get knowledge, understand that racism, white supremacy is not going no motherfucking where. I don't care who you are, what you think. It's not going nowhere, and it's nobody's responsibility to fight that battle but the dominant black society. And what I mean by that is, it's our job first to take the information that we get, arm ourselves with the information, each one teach 21, and then whoever else wants to join, fine. But I'm not talking about join by marching, whining, and repeating. That's sucker shit to me. When a motherfucker bring up reparations, don't be talking about why y'all get reparations. That's your opinion. But for me, being a foundational black American, and I know you trace my lineage, it goes straight back to a plantation. That's a fact. We built this country, so we are owed a debt that needs to be repaid. And that's a fact. And if people don't like it, that's fine. They have their right not to like it. We can agree to disagree. I'm talking about other racial groups. That's not my job for other racial groups to approve of me thinking that black folks should get reparations. My job is to state where I'm coming from and why we deserve reparations. And I don't care what nobody say. If you start to read and learn your history, like I'm reading Never Caught. It's about the untold story of Una Judge. Very, very good book. I'm in the first chapter, and this motherfucking book is good. And it just kind of discussed, like, from what I have read thus far, it just basically, George Washington was basically like, he didn't like involuntary, like, indentured servitude. He didn't like that. Why, Warren? Because, you know, a lot of white people would be in indentured servitude. So it'd be basically white slaves. And he talked about it in the book, how he was like, I didn't really like dealing with white slaves because they were worse than the black people. They was always trying to escape, basically complaining, and they were just always on some sucker shit. Like, they didn't want to do it. They didn't want to do the work. And he, quote unquote, George Washington said, our first president, white people were lazy and they didn't want to do it. So he didn't like dealing with white people as indentured servants. So he'd rather deal with black folk because black folk weren't lazy and they would get the job done. And they could be in the harsh conditions and weather. I didn't say this. This is what motherfucking George Washington says. It's in the book called Never Caught. So when you read, like Christopher Columbus, when he talked about, and they came before Columbus. I didn't say that. Christopher Columbus's dumbass was writing this shit down, talking about, oh, I got lost in sea and I didn't know how to get back, and the Moors had to build me a boat and navigate the waters because I didn't know where I was going. And then when we got there, I never talked to black people before. And I called them Indians because I thought I was going to India. This is shit that Christopher Columbus wrote down. I didn't write this shit. So it's like, it would behoove white people back in the day, they shouldn't have been writing this shit down. So that was on them. So, hey man, I'm gonna tell you right now, go to the corporate plantation, do your job, get the fuck out of here. Stop running around, gossiping and talking and getting involved in silly women bitch shit. No diss, I love my women, and no diss, but that's women supposed to be like that. Men should not be like that, man. Get away from them motherfuckers, man. For real. Hey, Erica, man, shout out to you. I saw that Dirty Bookman's prayer, though. I saw that. Good looking out. I saw it on there. I'm gonna try to get that on the shirt. Dirty Bookman's prayer. That's a dope ass fucking prayer, man. And that's our prayer. You know what I'm saying? That's something we should be proud of. But man, I think it's very important and imperative that we read, study, and learn what the fuck we're supposed to be doing. Period. And don't be mad at people. That's another thing that I've learned. Don't be mad at other racial groups because they don't want to fight our fight. Because they probably looking at us a lot of times like, well, you don't even want to fight your own fight. You fight the fight. Don't worry about another racial group. I'm not worried about other racial groups standing up for black folk. I'm worried about us first. That's it. And then once we get it, us first. Now, let's flip it. I am worried about other racial groups when it comes to people like Bill Cosby and our black celebrities and black people being found guilty before even proven innocent or nothing. You guilty in a court of public opinion. You guilty around white folk. You guilty on the jury. That's what I'm worried about, because when you're looking at a dominant white society person like Kyle Rittenhouse was dumping on other motherfuckers and walked right up to the police with an AK and they ain't do shit. And they was like, that's the shooter. The motherfucking police was like, okay, no problem. Hey man, what's going on? That's the shit that I'm talking about. Or I'm talking about, there was this thing I seen on the news. God, I'm blanking. And this white dude ran up on these black people and was like, I'll kill you niggers and all this other shit, right? And he pulled a gun out on him. So the black folk, they called up the authorities or whatever, and he got go. So then when the police stopped him, the police was super calm with him. Super fucking calm. But I would like what would happen if white people called and said a black person threatened them and pulled out a gun on them. Guns blazing. They're damn near gonna shoot and kill them. And that's fine that the dominant white society doesn't understand that And let me tell you why that's fine. Because to me, a lot of the times the dominant white society is selective memory. It is white fragility. Go get that book called White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo. A lot of the times, white people suffer from that. And that's not no excuse. They suffer from it because they want to take the blue pill smoothie and they want to just go to sleep. And since they got a couple of black friends, they feel like, nothing is wrong and they're not racist and all this other stuff. And that's fine. If that's what you want to think, fine. But if you want to have a real conversation with Warren, I've read too many books by this point that will point to certain things that are very indicative of the dominant white society's perspective when it comes to racial matters. As Dr. Claude Anderson teaches, broad and ambiguous terms. It's true. And then it's white fragility is the deflection. You know what I'm saying? You'll see it at the corporate plantation. I see it all the time. I've seen it all the time. I witness it all the time. And I don't be like, hey, man. I just kind of, observe and watch. I have, over the years, as reading, takes place in my life, and as I started to become more involved in reading, what I'm saying, and having a different understanding, I could tell I started to change my mentality at the corporate plantation. And it really changed. And not change for the worse. It just changed for, I'm going to just be more introverted. I'm not going to talk too much. I'm not going to say too much. I'm just going to watch and observe. And it really bothers people. You know what I mean? When you choose to be introverted when you're black in white America, especially in the United States of America Incorporated. Especially at these corporate plantations, because they be looking like, damn. Now, to me, confident people, confident racial groups, I've been around them. They don't give a fuck if you, they like, damn, that motherfucker cool. What's wrong with him? He's just doing his job. But for some sort of reason, when you are around certain dominant society people that participate in the system of racism and white supremacy, they will stop at nothing. Why you so quiet? You shouldn't be so quiet. Why you ain't saying nothing? Why this? Why that? You get a lot of that. So it's like, instead of you going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs over that shit, you just gotta step back, and just be like, whatever they think is whatever they think. I can't change whatever they think. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to become introverted. I'm going to compartmentalize a lot of the stresses and stuff that I'm dealing with. And I'm going to go on about my way. I'm not going to react. I'm going to respond. And I'm not going to argue with people. I'm going to keep the conversations based on the job at hand. I'm not going to talk about nothing outside of the job, because a lot of the times you're dealing with other racial groups and they do things to pick and say things to fuck with you. I remember one time I was at the corporate plantation and the motherfucker was brung up. Erica, this shit had me dying. A motherfucker brung up. Dude, did you see the Black Panther? I don't understand what the hype was about the movie. It just didn't seem that good. I didn't have to say anything. There was a Latino brother that was there that kind of jumped all over this white person and was like, bro, what the fuck do you mean, bro? And I didn't say nothing. I just got quiet. I didn't say anything. He said, what the fuck do you mean Black Panther wasn't this and that? He was like, that was one of Marvel's best movies, if you ask me. And he was like, well, I don't understand what's so dope. And then this Latino brother was like, Warren, you read the comic. I was like, yeah, in the comic book, Black Panther was one of the strongest. It was hard for them to fuck with him. And he was like, oh, I didn't know that. He was like, yeah, besides that, this is what a Latino brother said. I didn't say this. He said, and besides that, don't you get tired of just seeing white people as the superheroes all the time in every fucking movie? And he didn't know what to say. He's like, well, no, but... And he was like, what do you mean? But if it's going to be a black superhero, it's got to be out of this world and all this other shit. And then I had to break down the science to him. And I said, let me just break down the science for you. If it wasn't for a black person named Wesley Snipes, there would be no Marvel. Marvel was bankrupt. They were getting ready to file bankruptcy and go out of business. He saved the franchise with Blade in 97. I said, this is probably way before your time. You probably weren't even born when that happened. And if you were, you probably were a toddler. And then the Latino brother was like, that's true, man. That's fucking true. Because my parents, they watched Blade. Blade was like real fucking big in the 90s. I said, exactly. And then he didn't say anything. And he was quiet. And I could tell he was irritated and upset. And then the Latino brother just kept getting on his case and was like, bro, you disappoint me. I can't believe you don't like fucking Black Panther, bro. You're fucking racist, bro. Just say like, that's crazy. And after that, and a lot of the times when you step back and move aside and move ahead, things will take shape and form. And you ain't got to be acting a fool and reacting. And some people do that shit just to get a reaction out of you. And what I've learned over I would say the past couple of years Because, in corporate plantations, you change departments, you do different things, But, a specific department that I did work in, Austin, no, I don't work there no more. But, I learned over the years to just become introverted and don't say anything. Don't give nobody nothing. Don't respond. Don't react. Just give a response, And your response sometimes is say nothing. Say less, do your job, and go on about your way. And I think that's what everybody needs to focus on. Stop going to the job, bumping your gums, and wanting people to feel sorry for you. The dominant white society does not feel sorry for you. They don't give a fuck about what you got going on. They don't care about your sad story. Nobody does. So what you got to do is educate yourself, arm yourself, invest in the stock, 401k. You know what I'm saying? If your corporate plantation offers that shit, take advantage of it. If they don't, it's all good. You can open up your own 401k. Go get you an E-Trade account and get you an IRA, a traditional Roth. Go do that shit for yourself. I know Robinhood is about to come out with their own. They're about to announce and get their own IPO so they can be publicly traded. Go jump on that. Go do those things. Educate yourself. Now's the time, man. And stop tripping off Bill Cosby being, released from prison after he was falsely accused, thanks to bitches like Janice Dickinson committing perjury. So fuck them all. Y'all wasn't saying that when he was giving y'all money. How is it rape? How is it rape? In my personal opinion, this is my question. How is it rape after you keep coming back and getting money? That's more like prostitution, not rape. If it's rape, why would you go back? Because it wasn't like he was calling you. You were going back. That sounds like prostitution. Doesn't sound like rape and him drugging you and all that. Get the fuck out of here. That's sucker shit. But they got Harvey Weinstein on audio, straight, strong arming a bitch for some pussy. And then when he got found guilty, that motherfucker got a walker. Get the fuck out of here. But look, man, y'all already know what it is. Y'all know what it ain't. Handle business. Shout out to everybody out there. Erica, I fuck with you big time, man. Let me know if you want some CMOS, though. I'll send it to you. Don't trip. I appreciate everybody listening, subscribing. Hey, y'all know what it is. You know I'm going to say the real. And if not, don't fuck with it. Hey, man. Hey, Austin, man. Hey, hit me up, man. Text me, man. I got some shit to tell you. But anyway, hey, man, I appreciate everybody listening, subscribing. Nick, shout out to Nick, Dom, everybody out there that's handling business, man. I fuck with y'all, man. Hey, man, I'll see y'all motherfuckers on Sunday, man. Shout out to Bill Cosby and anybody out there that don't fuck with it. Guilty nigga, I don't fuck with you. I'm out. Peace.